from the Hammond Student Center on the campus of Southwest Missouri State University. Get ready for the championship game of the 10th annual Bass Pro Tournament of Champions. Hi everybody, I'm Steve Barnes along with former Southwest Missouri State Bear Jeff Ford, ready to bring you all the action between the Glendale Falcons and the Christ the King Royals from Middle Village, New York. Glendale comes in 9th in Missouri Class 4A, 14-3. Christ the King is 12-2. Both teams are making their 5th appearance in this tournament, and fittingly enough, they met each other in the very first game back in 1985. Christ the King and Glendale have met 3 times. The Royals have won all 3 by 17 back in 1985, 11 in 1989, and by 18 in the last meeting of the 1991 consolation semifinals. The Glendale Falcons are trying to be the first Springfield team to win this tournament, and they're the second local squad to make it into the championship game. The Parkview Vikings advanced 2 years ago, but couldn't bring it home. Glendale is 14-3. Christ the King is 12-2. We'll be back with the starting lineups right after this. Getting ready for the championship game of the 10th annual Bass Pro Tournament of Champions. And we will pause now for our national anthem.
By the Southwest Missouri State University Military Science Department's Ranger Challenge Team. In the 41-year history of ROTC at SMSU, 1485, second lieutenants have been commissioned through the military science program to join the ranks of the active Army, Army Reserve, and Army National Guard. 9 of the graduates have attained the rank of General Officer. Commander of the Color Guard this evening is Cadet Tim Dalton. Members Cadet Brad Lane, Cadet Leif Thompson, Cadet Andy Common, and Cadet John Strutman. Ms. Sarah Rankin, national anthem.
We have Chris, Cedar Boy, 6 of 9, 3 of 5, 16. Kelly Griffin, 4 of 5 on the floor, 3 of 9.
Let's check the starting lineups for tonight's ball game. As you can see, there are not many empty seats for the championship game. First of all, for the Christ the King Royals, at one guard, 6-foot senior Dennis Cook. His running mate is 5'10" senior Steve Amenta. The man in the middle is 6'6" senior Rudy Hall. And the forwards are 6'4" senior Harvey Rebel and 6'5" sophomore Ira Miller. Christ the King is coached by 13th year mentor Bob Oliva, trying for their 3rd Tournament of Champions title. For the Glendale Falcons, as they're introduced to the crowd, one guard, 5'9" senior Stu Stinger. The other guard, 6'3" junior Kenneth Price. Man in the middle is 6'4" junior Mike Galindo. And the forwards are 6'3" senior Brian Groh and 6'3" senior Brad Forbacher. Forbacher and Groh, Galindo, Price, and Stinger for Mike Keltner. He's in his 10th year at Glendale. Graduated from Southwest Missouri State back in 1974. A very fitting championship game for this 10th annual tournament. Working with me tonight, former Southwest Missouri State Bear forward Jeff Ford. And this should be a great ball game.
It should be a fast ball game, I think. Just from watching both the teams play yesterday, it's going to be an up and down game. We don't have a whole lot of size like we did in the game before, but it should be a very exciting one again.
The Falcons have rolled to the championship game. 78-49 winners over Natchez, Mississippi on Thursday, and 72-50 over St. Charles West on Friday. Christ the King knocked off Springfield Central 84-68 on Thursday, and they defeated Jefferson City to get here Friday 55-47. They were champions in 1985 and again in 1989. They finished last in 1987 and fifth in 1991. Glendale was fifth in 85 and 86, fourth in 89, and seventh in 1991. The Falcons break the huddle first. Here come the Royals. Glad to have you along with us. And if it's anything like last year's title game, we'll be here for a while and it'll go right down to the wire. Double overtime last year. St. Raymond's of New York City against Charleston. And the Charleston coach's brother is passing the ball in the air. Al McFerrin, officials tonight. And Glendale will keep it off the tap. Brad Forbacher will inbound. Brad Forbacher will inbound. Ball slapped it away. Price had it for a minute and he'll draw a foul. Brian Groh had it for a few seconds also. Harvey Rebel with the foul.
It's his first.
Kenneth Price to the free throw line. Christ the King High School is located in Middle Village, New York, in the borough of Queens. Price makes the free throw. That's the first point of the ball game. 15 minutes west of Shea Stadium, 15 minutes east of Madison Square Garden. Second one is good, best of both worlds. 2-0 Glendale. Royals against the timeline. And they'll call a jump ball.
Good defense down there by Galindo there to tie up the ball.
Galindo and Miller were doing battle. Inbounds to Amenta. 4 senior starters and the sophomore, Ira Miller. He has more than held his own in this tournament. That's Rudy Hall with it as they pass around the perimeter. There's a 3 from the right side from Cook, no good. Amenta will get it back and draw a foul.
Christ King being real patient with it, moving it around. Working it in for a good shot.
There is Mike Keltner. An outstanding record as the head coach of the Glendale Falcons. His teams almost always are state ranked some point during the season. He's had 2 trips to the Final Four. Amenta's free throw is no good. The list of Christ the King standouts now in college basketball is seemingly endless. Free throw is good. 2-1 Glendale. There goes Kenneth Price. His drive is cut off. Stinger will run down the path. Amenta guards him. Very fitting for the 10th anniversary title game, the 2 most experienced teams in this tournament. Christ the King has won all 3 previous meetings. Brad Forbacher and teammates are trying to change that. He goes to Galindo as the Royal defense is pushing the Falcons way out on the perimeter. And they can bomb from out there, no question about that. Forbacher to Galindo. That's Price. Back to Forbacher. To Price again. Price goes to the deck, keeps the dribble alive, gives it to Groh. And there's the foul on the reach by Dennis Cook. I think, Jeff, the early flow of this ball game is the Royals know Glendale can bomb from the outside, and they're having a man in their face all the time.
Exactly. They're pressuring them way out, and it's going to slow down the game. Both of them are really running patient offenses, and that right there looked like a frustration foul. Just tired of playing defense.
There's the steal from Amenta. Price is back. Amenta almost lost it, and Glendale will take it. Here comes Stinger. 1-on-2, so Stu will slow it up. Off to Galindo, back to Stinger. When the Falcons are on from the outside, they're hard to stop. Stinger to the house, good. Amenta with a rebound.
Christ the King doing a good job pressuring their outside shooters also.
Amenta off on the right side to Miller. Thought he was going to shoot, and then he decided to pass off to Rudy Hall. Problem there was Rudy was going to shoot also.
Yeah, that was a good inside, but he probably should have went ahead and finished it off, being that close to the goal.
We've played just over 2 minutes, and it's 2-1. All on free throws. The Falcons have the advantage. That's Galindo with it. To Kenneth Price. Price bounces down for Galindo, out of bounds, and Royals will have it. Here comes Justin Foley off the Glendale bench. Foley has been the starting center, but he was sick. Galindo came in to start for him and has played very well in the tournament. So Coach Keltner wanted to stay with his same starters, but Foley is back in. Price with some pressure in the backcourt. Shot from the right side's too strong. Rebel missed. Falcons will take the rebound. Forker on the dribble. Stinger press for Price is out of bounds, but it'll go to the Royals. Bob Oliva and Rick Keltner both standing. There is Mike Keltner. His team comes in 3-3. Losses to Hazelwood Central early in the season and to Joplin and Springfield Central in Ozark direction. The Royals pass the ball around. That's Amenta with it. Off to Cook for 3. Short. Groh will run it down.
It's good job by Groh right there to see that ball was going to come shorter. That fell right in.
For 3. Short. Royals battle for rebound, and Miller take it. Ahead to Amenta, still 2-1. We've played 3.5 minutes in the first quarter. That is Dennis Cook. Inside, Rebel will turn and shoot, and roll out. Actually, that was Miller who missed. And here comes the second. Forbacher 3, no. Price, trap, no. Miller with a rebound. So we're halfway through the first quarter now. And it's still 2-1. No field goals. Christ the King gives it to the sophomore Miller. He missed. Price will take it away. You give it off to Stu Stinger. That's Foley with it at the point. Both teams are playing good defense. Christ the King knows that Glendale likes to shoot from the outside. Groh pump fakes, drives, and hits it.
There's our first one.
4-1 Falcons. 3.5 to go. Christ the King looking for their third TOC championship. Glendale for its first, and the first by any Springfield school. Cook has it. Off to Amenta. Miller will shoot for 3. Off the front rim. Forbacher will take it. Brad will go up. Glendale had 5 players in double figures in each of the first 2 games. Foley is short for 3. Groh taps it back to him. That is Groh with it. Pump fake, double teamed. Now back to Stinger. Clock winding toward 2.5 to go in the first period. Foley will shoot for 3, short. Price runs it down, out of bounds, and they'll say Dennis Cook touched it last.
He pretty much made him shoot that. He just left him so wide open.
Galindo will come in. And there's a timeout. 2:33 to play first quarter. Glendale with the early lead. (4-1) Glendale. 2:33 to go, and as in the first game, a little bit of a surprising start here. The Royal defense has been the story so far. Glendale has not had many shots that they've wanted.
Glendale defense, holding down being also.
The Royals have had better shots than the Falcons. Neither team shot well at all. There's the row, and there's a wide open shot short. And they call Harvey Rebel for the foul going over the back, and that is Harvey's second.
You can see right there how well coached the Glendale team is. I mean, that's just textbook block out right there with him going over the back.
There is the veteran Royal coach, Bob Oliva. Native New Yorker, 1970 graduate of Queens College. Also used to coach baseball at Christ the King, and he had a couple of guys who are on their way to riches in the big league. Steve Carsey, now with Oakland, the odds-on favorite for the Rookie of the Year next year, came over from the Blue Jays in the Ricky Henderson deal, and Cardinal fans know all about Alan Watson. Also a high school pitcher for Christ the King. Shot is no good. That is Amenta with the dribble. Stinger watches him, so they'll give it off to Miller. Rudy Hall has not been involved in the action very much. He wears 34. You see him moving around trying to get position, but he has not been able to touch the basketball so far.
And that's going to be important for Christ the King in last night's game. I mean, he was a force in that game in the win that they had.
There he is right there. First foul for Kenneth Price. Cook off the inbound. Amenta works the dribble. To Cook, down low, layup is no good. Antoine Tillett missed that one. Antoine just teched in. Stinger had Forbacher under the hoop, but Stu decided not to risk it. Groh stops and pops, again off the mark for three. Galindo, offensive board, blocked there by Rudy Hall. Forbacher moved into him, and Rudy will get called for the foul. That is his first and the team's fourth. A very slow developing ball game here in the first quarter. Defense has ruled both ends.
A lot of action, but not a lot of scoring.
Defense and poor shooting. Stinger deep to Kenneth Price. Splits the double team, gives it off to Forbacher. Glendale checked in, number 9 in Class 4A. Interestingly enough, they defeated both Jefferson City and St. Charles West, ranked number 1 and 2. Of course, they also lost to Joplin. So,
go figure.
Stinger, left-hander, three. And it's 7-1 with 30 seconds left in the first quarter. There's Rudy Hall, and he drew a foul. Brian Groh will get called for it. During the Glendale-Jefferson City game, they pitched a shutout for one quarter against the Jays. I want to say it was the second or third. There are 28 seconds left in this quarter, and the Royals have one. Left-handed free throw, and they still have one. Justin Foley comes back in. Galindo will take a seat. Rudy Hall will try to make his second here, and he does. So Glendale will get the last shot of the quarter. Price to the basket, good. 9-2.
Strong move by Price right there. Just decided to take it to the hole.
There you see time remaining in the first. Out of bounds off Brian Grove's knee. Mike Keltner will watch his team play defense again. Ira Miller has it. To the hoop he goes, and he'll draw a foul. Brian Grove will get called. That is his second. Our officials tonight, Al McFerrin, Wade Terrell, and Tim Torval. Torval with a call there. Brian Cates comes in for the first time. Brian Grove will take a seat with those two fouls. The Royals will inbound. Cook will launch for three. No good. With 1.1 left in the first. Glendale will get another last chance. Stinger, short. So, we've played one. 9-2 Falcons. We'll be back. As you can tell by the score, there was not much offense. In fact, for Christ the King, it was downright offensive. They were 0 for 9 from the floor. Glendale not much better at 3 out of 11.
Glendale will have the ball to begin the second period.
We'll just call that the warm-up quarter.
Both teams hope so. Forbacher to inbound for the Falcons. That is Kenneth Price against Harvey Rebel. Rebel out there with 2 fouls. Brian Grove has 2 for the Falcons. He is on the bench. Price, strong from the corner. And the Royals will control it. That's Antoine Tillett. He checked in halfway through the first quarter. Anton has it now. Cook, he is open for 3, but will not shoot it. He looks inside for Tillett, who will draw a foul.
Glendale packing that defense in pretty tough. You haven't seen the ball go in a lot, and you haven't seen it really on a pass at all. It's usually a drive in order to get them inside.
Brad Forbacher right there picked up the foul. That is his first. Grove comes back in for Cates. Cook and Ameta have been doing most of the work, and that's not what the Royals want. Pass is slapped away. Christ the King will keep it. Almost a turnover off the inbound pass. Forbacher guards Tillett. They'll work it around the perimeter. Now they get it inside. Rudy Hall missed off the glass. Rudy will get his own rebound over Foley. It still won't go. Another putback won't happen, and now, finally, Rudy Hall makes the shot. Here come the Falcons.
You know, that's the same way that Hall and Miller were battling last night against the boards.
Double dribble on Forbacher. Christ the King will take it. Galindo will come in for Foley. Mike Keltner's played 7. Bob Oliva has gone with 6 so far in the first half. Champions in 85 and 89. Trying to take the trophy back to the middle of Queens in 94. And there's Rudy Hall.
Rudy Hall starting to free himself up inside. He could cause some problems for the Glendale Falcons.
Foul on the other end against the Royals. Steve Amenta will pick up the foul. That is his first. Bob Oliva's had great success at Christ the King. Members of the New York City Catholic League, along with St. Raymond's, another perennial powerhouse. And they've won a couple of these tournaments also. Grove missed the 3, and they'll have a foul on the rebound. Rudy Hall picked up his second.
Kenny Price had just muscled him inside and had that offside rebound position.
Stinger to inbound, 9-6 Glendale. Galindo almost had a free path to the basket, but he lost it. So the Royals will take it. Ira Miller has it stripped. Here comes Galindo. One-on-one layup, no. Price tried the dipsy-do. It won't go. Galindo gets it back and gets it out to Stinger. Now, Al McFerrin finally called 3 seconds in the lane. Mike Keltner has had all this good time he can stand. He wants a timeout. 5:55 to play first half. Falcons still lead it. Mike Keltner is trying to get his team going here. Neither team has shot the ball well. I would think that would be obvious by our score. Defense has had something to do with it, but not all.
No, Christ King's had so many open shots in the bucket, and just, right before the break. The same with Glendale.
Bad pass there. Let's see if the Falcons can capitalize. Stinger and Amena. Stu to the house.
That's a way to build up your shooting percentage, layups.
A 5-point Falcon advantage. Lob down low to Ira Miller. And for the first time tonight, we had back-to-back baskets. Stinger and Amenta. Now to Forbacher. Brad through the lane. Pump fake. Count it. So if it's not working from the outside, take it inside. You think that was Coach Keltner's message during the timeout?
It appears that's what he told him to do, because that's all they've done.
Amenta has it for Christ the King. Off to Cook for three. Rims out. Groh will take it. Royals have been a little bit short on their three-pointers. They're hitting the front rim and bouncing over. Stinger to Groh. The Falcons are a very balanced offensive club. They don't look to one particular person to score. Brian Groh is their leading scorer, and he has the entry pass slapped away.
It was a good look inside by Kenny Price.
Rudy Hall back in. Brian Cates comes in for Groh. Hall replaced Dennis Cook, so it's interesting. Bob Oliva's gone to a little bit bigger lineup now. Only one true guard back there. Forbacher for three, short. The rebound for Tillett. We'll see what happens here, if the size advantage makes any difference. Royals pass it around. There goes Amenta, and he will draw a foul. Little man took it up strong.
Put all that size in there, and then your little point guard takes it strong to the hole. It's going to be a key for Christ King, I believe, to dominate the boards, both offensively and defensively.
Galindo with the foul, his first. Both teams have battled underneath tonight. They've both gone hard to the boards. Steve Amenta will go to the line for two. First one from the senior, missed short. Amenta with a total of 12 in the first two ball games. And he missed that one. Cates will clear it. Cates to Stinger. Halfway through the second quarter. And there's a foul on Amenta.
Thought he was going to put him in a full Nelson there for a second. Riding him the whole time.
Jeremy Mender comes in for Christ the King. First time we've seen him. Mender, a 5'9" senior. I'm sure this is not the kind of game Bob Oliva wants his team to play. 8 points. 3/4 of the way through the first half. They scored 84 against Central and 55 over Jefferson City. Stinger will go to the line. Left-handed free throw is good. Stu has 6. These teams have met 3 times in this tournament over the years. Christ the Kings won all 3. Stinger and company are trying to change that. Stu has 7. 4 minutes to go, second quarter. Rebel gives it off to Tillett. Now back to Rebel. Stu Stinger had a hand on it, so he'll give it up to the guard. Mender will dribble, bounce down low, deflected, and Justin Foley comes away with it. Lead pass ahead for Price, one-on-one with Mender. Kenny will stop and pop and miss everything.
Probably not a good shot right there on the break. Didn't have the numbers.
Here come the Royals. Anton Tillett in traffic. Offensive foul.
You could see when he took off with that ball, he was going to be out of control.
Brian Groh comes in. Cates will leave. The Falcons have 1 3-pointer so far. Stinger has it. Inside 3.5 to go, and it's 15-8. This is the first half we're talking about here. Forbacher decides to pass up the 3 to Groh. Nice acting job from Ira Miller. Tim Torval didn't buy it. You could hear that all the way back to Queens. The ball slapped out of bounds. Glendale will keep it.
Unbelievable the amount of fouls you can pull just by groaning a little, but not that time.
Forbacher to Stinger. Stu works the dribble. And he'll finally give it up to Groh. Almost taken away. Forbacher picks it up, however. Tillett got a hand on it. Foley to Forbacher again. Glendale continues to go patient on offense. There's the entry pass to Foley. Turns and shoots. Out of bounds off Price's hand. Foley got caught in traffic and shot anyway.
Yeah, he probably should have kicked it out. They'd waited so long, you know, to get a good shot.
Here come the Royals. Mender behind a screen. Now it goes down low. Miller missed from point blank range, and the Falcons will get it again. Christ the King was 0 for 9 in the first quarter. Forbacher short for 3.
They definitely need to take their layup drill a little more serious in their
Miller,
pregame.
finger roll, offensive foul. No basket.
Player control foul against 31 Ira Miller.
That's the way it's been going for the sophomore and his team tonight.
First foul.
2 minutes to play first half, and we're stuck on 15-8. There have been no points in the last 2 minutes. And there's a travel against Stu Stinger. Dennis Cook will come back in, and Anton Tillett will sit down, and I guess it's safe to say that the tall lineup didn't get it done.
Yeah. They're going to have to do a little bit of fixing.
A minute 53 to play, and yet another new player will come in. That is Michael Schweikert. He will go to the table and await the next stoppage of play. Miller lost it out of bounds, and there is the next stoppage of play. And Miller is the chosen one to sit. Schweikert's a 6'1" senior.
Miller's having a tough time putting it in the hole down there. He's missed, you know, a couple easy layups down there.
We'll see if the Falcons can add to their lead in the final 90 seconds of the first half. Stinger to Groh. There it goes. Groh with 4, and it's 17-8. Dennis Cook will dribble. Ball kicked out of bounds with 1:14 to play. The Royals continue to work it around the perimeter. That is Schweikert with it, and we have exactly a minute left in the first half. Mender has it. Stinger watches him. Off to Cook. Price cuts off his pass to the basket with some nice defense there. Now to Mender.
Glendale's really making it hard to make that penetrating pass down low, and it's causing Christ King a lot of problems.
Cook with a miss. Stinger will take the rebound, and Mike Keltner loves it on the far end. He was off the bench and applauding midway through that possession. 30 seconds to go as Stinger signals for one shot. Foley has it as the clock continues to run. And Mender fouled Stu Stinger. Why exactly, we're not really sure.
Just a little over-aggressive.
Steve Amenta comes in. Mender will sit.
Sometimes when they keep the ball from you for so long, you know, you just try something a little silly just to get it back.
Cates for Groh. Groh will sit with his 2 fouls. Amenta checks back in with 2. Hall and Rebel have 2 also. Stinger's free throw misses, and Kenny Price will get called for climbing Schweikert's back. That is Price's second. So we'll change ends.
See if Christ the King can get into double figures before half right here.
If it was humanly possible, Bob Oliva would be beside himself right now. No good on the free throw. Price will get the rebound. And again, the Falcons will have last crack. Stinger down low to Price. Forbacher, no good. Halftime in the championship game of the 10th annual Bass Pro Tournament of Champions. And the Glendale Falcons are halfway toward being the first Springfield team to win the title. We'll be back to summarize the first half right after this. Halftime from the championship game of the Tournament of Champions. Those are the Parkview Viking cheerleaders entertaining the crowd at halftime. Unbelievable shooting percentages for both teams. Christ the King is 3 out of 18. That's 17% from the floor. Springfield Glendale's not much better. 6 out of 22 for 27%. And during the break, we took a trip into the archives, and the lowest score ever in this tournament was the 7th place game of 1986. The Nixa Eagles managed 31 points, but only lost by 3. It was 34-31. The Rogersville Wildcats took 7th place that year. There have been several scores in the 30s since then. There were 3 different games last year with the losing team scoring under 40 points. But Jeff, this has been a very surprising first half.
It really has. I tell you, I don't believe that we're going to set a new record tonight. I've seen both these teams play. You know, you're shooting 17% in the first half. All you can say is it can't get any worse. It's going to have to get better, and hopefully we'll see a different game the second half. Both teams will come out firing like they were the nights before.
I think so, and we all hope so for the players and the fans and us and our viewers and everyone else. We hope it gets better in the second half. Stu Stinger has had a decent first half. He has 7 points. Kenny Price and Brian Groh have 4. Brad Forbacher has 2. Rudy Hall's managed 5 for Christ the King. Ira Miller has 2, and Steve Amenta has the other one. Both teams have 7 turnovers. Rebounds are almost even at 18-16. The ball is just not falling.
It really isn't. You know, if you go in at halftime and you see that you're up, you know, or you've scored over half your team's points, and you've only got 5, you know, something's a little wrong right there.
We will be back for what has to be a better second half. Stay tuned. There you see Mike Keltner and his assistants coming out for the second half. His team is already out on the floor. No sign of the Christ the King Royals, and not really a surprise after you shoot 3 out of 18 for the half. We mentioned both of these teams making their 5th appearance in this tournament. 2 of the best individual tournament performances turned in by former Royals. You'll remember Jamal Faulkner back in 1987. Still holds the tournament rebounding record with 43 total, although Monty Harge will come close to setting a record in this tournament. Faulkner now with the University of Alabama. And who will forget Khalid Reeves' performance, most valuable player of the 1989 tournament. 101 points. The tournament scoring record, he had 39 in one game. That is second all-time behind Todd Day. And these teams met in the semifinals that year. Christ the King won at 64-53. Khalid Reeves had 28, and Tyler Ruhlman had 30 for Glendale. An outstanding individual battler. Of course, Ruhlman went on to a great career with the Harvard Crimson. Derek Phelps played in this tournament for Christ the King, still with the Tar Heels. In fact, they've had 7 players off those early teams go on to Division I basketball. And Jeff, overall, even from some other schools, some great players have come through here. We mentioned Todd Day, Alonzo Mourning, and it's very, very impressive to see the list of players who have played in Springfield.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I think a lot of the fans get excited just, you know, who's going to be here this year? Who's going to be there next year? It's a heck of a tournament they've put together, and the talent, you know, speaks for itself. You see the players. You've got players in the pros even now. You know, you've got a lot of them still in the college ranks, and probably some more that have played here will be in the pros.
Forgot to mention Anthony Peeler. Who could forget his performances for Kansas City Paseo, first as a freshman in 1985, and then again back as a senior in 1988. Javon Crudup, who had a strong day today for the University of Missouri. And Kareem Reed last year for St. Raymond's out of the Bronx. The list continues to grow. And Monty Harge will go down in tournament history this year, too. He has been outstanding.
Yeah, he, you know, with the size that he's got, he could be one of those players that we see someday in the pros. He'll have to work at it, but 6'11", and you're gonna have some kind of an impact.
Here we go for the second half. 17-8 Glendale, and it's no wonder that young lady is fighting to stay awake.
Yeah. Buckle up. Here's the second half.
Hopefully, it'll be better. Well, it has to be better.
It's got to.
Who will win the 1994 Bass Pro Tournament of Champions? Dennis Cook would like for it to be his team. Christ the King out of Middle Village, New York in the borough of Queens, trying to get into double figures. There we go. 17-10 now. That is Stu Stinger. Brian Groh will take it. Layup rims out. Forbacher is there. He will draw the foul.
Good board by Forbacher there. I believe the foul was on Miller.
That's his second. And the first team foul here in the second half.
Ira Miller did indeed pick up the foul. That is his second.
Timeout, Glendale.
And Glendale will take a timeout. So we played 40 seconds. Coach Keltner didn't like something he saw, and he will try to correct it. We'll be back. Glendale by 7 early in the third. Steve Barnes and Jeff Ford describing the championship game for you from the Hammond Student Center. Inbound to Forbacher. Nice steal by Miller. To the house he goes. Layup is good. Miller has 6, and it's 17-12. Back quickly come the Falcons. Price hits it. Nice pass from Stu Stinger. 19-12. We've played a minute. in the second half. And already it's better than the first half.
Oh, my.
Rudy Hall has it. Kicks it back out. Cross court. Price intercepts. Bad pass there. Price will give it to Stu Stinger. Stinger to Grow for three. Nope. Foley, the rebound. Nope. Forbacher, foul.
Glendale dominating the offensive boards down there.
And it looks like Rudy Hall will get called. Mike Keltner likes it so far. Third foul on Rudy Hall, second of the half. Forbacher to the line. He was 1 out of 6 from the floor in the first half. Dennis Cook was 0 for 5 for the Royals. Forbacher's second is good, and it's 21-12, Glendale. They have led throughout. Layup on the other end is good by Rudy Hall. He has 7. Royals press. Stinger breaks it with a bounce to Grow. Here comes Grow. Bounce down low. Forbacher. Big block for Ira Miller.
Oh, my.
And looks like they called a foul also. The sophomore picks up his third. Bob Oliva to the edge of the coaching box. Not sure he agrees. So Forbacher will go back to the line. First one is good. Forbacher with a total of 27 in the tournament coming into tonight has 32. Make it 33. Total 6 on the evening. And it's 23-14. We've played 2 minutes of the second half. Kenny Price guards Cook. He passes to Amenta. Now they'll work it around the perimeter some more. Miller to Rebel. Cook will launch from 3, short. Price goes to the deck and finally controls the rebound. That is Brian Grow with it. So the Falcons looking to add another 2 or maybe 3. Forbacher, good.
They're heating it up here now.
26-14, Falcons on a roll. 9-2 on the run. Amenta for 3, short. Grow will get it. Nothing is going right for Christ the King. Stinger to Forbacher. Brad pulls up, bounce down low, now to Price, good.
Great passing inside.
First from Forbacher, then from Foley. Timeout, Christ the King, and the crowd loves it. Finally, something to cheer about at the Hammond Student Center. 4:58 left in the third. Falcons have doubled up on Christ the King. We'll be back. If you're hungry, there's no line. Most of the crowd is in its seats watching this one. 28-14. Glendale by 14. That's Cook for Christ the King.
Cook's not as quick to pull the trigger now.
He struggled in the first half. There's Ira Miller. 28-16 now. Glendale ahead by 12. 4:30 left in the third. Kenny Price has it down low. Foley is wide open.
Somebody missed an assignment down there for Foley to be that open. Great pass by Price.
Again, the 14-point advantage. Falcons are moving the ball very well in the second half. Actually, they were moving it okay in the first half. The shots just weren't falling. Rebel was in trouble, back out to Amenta. Hook pass down low, Miller was wide open, but Amenta threw the pass wildly. Missed opportunity there.
Guy gets in that close to the goal and you can't hardly deliver it to him at his knees.
Falcons could go up by 17, but let's think again as the pass goes out of bounds on their end also. Nothing has gone right for Christ the King. Looking for their third TFC title. Miller way off. Rebel the rebound in traffic and it'll go.
Barely goes.
Ball thought about it for a moment and decided this, well, all right, you can have this one. 30-18, Glendale by a dozen. Forbacher to Stinger. 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Now Foley has it. Stinger is open, left-handed three, too strong. Rebound comes out to Rebel. Off to Amenta. Here come the Royals. Cook will spot up, but decide not to shoot. To Amenta, touch pass, Miller over Foley. Good. So the sophomore has half their points, and it's 30-20.
Definitely shooting it better the second half is Christ the King.
Forbacher off the glass and in.
As is Glendale.
Well, when you shoot 27% and 17%, there's nowhere to go but up. Cook for three, strong. And he'll foul Kenny Price on the rebound. Tough night for Dennis Cook.
Yeah, he's struggling. Frustration foul right there.
He was 0 for 5 in the first half and has not hit anything in the second. 2:25 to go in the third. Kenny Price has it. Off to Grow. Down low, that's Foley to Price. Good. And if you're Bob Oliva, you're wondering what happened to your defense.
Yeah, both the defense that was out there in the first half is gone, but the offense of the first half is gone also.
Miller, no. Grow with the rebound.
Good board by Grove.
No second shots. And Stinger walked. No second shots on the offensive end. Easy shots allowed on the defensive end.
It's almost like coach went in at halftime and told them, you know, what they've got to do offensively, and they forgot about their defense.
Miller again, off the board, good. 34-22, the sophomore with a dozen, minute and a half to go. Foley to Stinger. And Amenta will get called for the foul. That is his third. He joins Hall and Miller with three. Falcons to inbound. Grow is way off with three, probably deflected. Price to Forbacher, good. Brad Forbacher has come alive in the third quarter. 36-22, finger roll in the lane. Rebel with four, they stole the inbound pass. Miller, good, and a foul. An explosion by the Royals.
Couple of mental errors, kind of getting lackadaisical on the inbounds there.
And it could be a 9-point game if Miller hits the free throw.
You got to be careful with a team like Christ the King, because they can turn it around in no time. They're, you know, quick. They've all pretty good scores.
They scored the first 4 points of the second half to pull within 5. That's the closest they've been. And this will be the closest they've been since that stretch. Miller got it. Inside a minute to go in the third. Miller has 15. Brian Grove will dribble. Lob down, though. There's Galindo. Rebel left him wide open. The lead is back to 11. Jeremy Mender has it for Christ the King. Looks like they'll play for the last shot. If it's a 3, they'll be within 8. Mender is ready to go with 10. Amenta wide open. Rebel, he'll shoot the 3 and miss. Price with the rebound. No good at the buzzer. So after 3, the Falcons still lead Christ the King by 11. We'll be back with the 4th right after this. The Glendale Falcons shot 67% from the floor in the third quarter. Christ the King shot 60. So that's upped our percentages to 41 and 36. In case you weren't with us for the first half, it was 27 and 16. Mike Keltner's ball club is 8 minutes away from being the first Springfield team to win a Tournament of Champions title. They lead by 11. Here we go. Stu Stinger, bounce for Foley, out of bounds, and Glendale will keep it. We knew it had to get better, and it did in the third quarter.
I tell you, that's the only thing I don't like to see is such good shooting percentages, because now it's hard for it to even get better on top of that.
We'll see what happens in the fourth. Price is in traffic. Now you'll find Stinger. Forbacher is open. Good.
Boy, he's come alive the second half.
No question about that. He has 15 points total, 13 in the second half. So that means he had 11 in the quarter. Steal by Kenny Price. One-on-one. Price, no good, but a foul. Amenta was not going to let him have it.
Crowd was smelling dunk there. They kind of felt let down.
Glendale had 17 in the first half, 21 in the third quarter. Amenta will get some advice from Bob Oliva. Price has 10. Make it 11. The junior will try to get a dozen here. And he does. So the lead is 15. A long hill to climb for Christ the King. Count the bucket and a foul, and Ira Miller says, yes, I scored that over you, Mr. Grove.
He was so excited he got the call. I believe he thought he had charged the guy, and he was going to give 5 to the ref.
Miller has been the only Royal really to show up offensively. He has 17 of their 29 points, trying for 18 out of 30. And there it is. Hall has 7, Rebel with 4, and Ameta with 1 free throw. And that's tough when your guards are scoreless from the floor. Stenger to Price. The lead is a dozen. We've played a minute in the fourth quarter. Foley to Stinger. Stu very patient. Inside for Forbacher. Nice defense there. Glendale will keep it as the ball goes out of bounds. They say Rebel touched it last. There's a look at the 6'4" senior. Miller stole it off the inbound. 3-on-2 for the Royals. Miller all the way, too strong. Rebel with one tap. He'll take it back up, and it'll fall. 42-32. Glendale needs to answer. Grow will try it. Good.
I knew he was due to hit one, and that was a pretty clutch one there.
Very timely from Mr. Grow. He has 7. Back down low, Miller. And it's not often you see a sophomore say, okay, boys, give it to me and I'll carry you. And that's what Miller's doing.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Forbacher, one-on-one with Rebel. Harvey almost took it from him, and Mender did. Well, maybe not. And finally, the Royals come out 3-on-1, ahead to Rebel. Layup is good. The lead is 9. Rebel with 8. The Royals defense is trying to get the offense going here. Don't know if there'll be enough time.
Yeah, Glendale needs to keep the ball in the hands of Stinger.
Forbacher had it and drew a foul. And that looks like
Rebel.
Mr. Rebel.
I think he was trying to catch himself from falling down.
That is his 3rd. Miller, Rebel, and Hall have 3 fouls out of the starting lineup. Amenta is out there with 4. No one's in foul trouble really for Glendale. Grow has 3. 1-and-1 for Forbacher. Good. That one's a little bit off the mark. Price tried to corral it, but the Royals will take it. They're down 10 with 5 to play. And there's a foul from Stinger.
Stinger's playing good, really good defense there, and then for some reason just wanted to swat at it once. That's usually when they get you.
Menta to Mentor. They'll let the point guard drive, and he nailed it. That is his first 2. And it's an 8-point lead. Mike Keltner down on one knee. He knows this one is not over yet. Foley to Price. Good.
Great pass.
Again, the lead is 10. Inside 5 minutes to play. Held ball is the call. The Royals will keep it. They had a chance for a layup there. Coach Keltner telling his defense to tighten up down low. That's Amenta. 4.5 to play. The guard drives and doesn't come away with anything there. Mentor slaps it away ahead to Miller. He will take it. Good, and a foul. Outstanding drive from the sophomore.
You could tell he wasn't going to give that one up.
Forbacher with the foul, his second. 4:16 to go, and if the sophomore hits it, he'll have 23, and the lead will be 7. Nope, so it's 8. As in our first game, the team who trails is making a run at it in the second half. St. Charles West couldn't get it done. Forbacher, no. Price, yes.
Beautiful follow by Price right there, way over the rim.
The lead is 10, 4 minutes to go. Miller to Mender. To Amenta, back to Mender, open from 3, yes.
Number 3.
Whistle on the other end as the lead is 7. Mender with a foul.
Bender trying to get something started, you know, playing hard on the D. And
Number 12, Jeremy Bender. That's his second.
7-point ball game. 3:32 to go. Stinger to the line for 1-1, as you see. Mender
Stinger at the line.
looking for a quick drink of water. Stinger hit the first. Stu has 8. Stu has 9. 9-point lead, 3.5 to play. On the other end, Rebel, no. Second time, yes, and a foul.
Harvey Rebel.
it's a good follow right there on his own miss.
Fouls on 25,
He got pretty high up over the rim on that one.
Yes, he did. Price picks up his third and another 3-point play opportunity for the Royals.
Rebel at the line, shooting one.
And it's a 6-point game. Royals take it away. Rebel in jail, and he calls time. It's a Royal comeback. We'll see if the Falcons can answer. 3:21 to play. Don't go anywhere. After a first half that both teams would prefer to wipe away as a bad dream, this game has turned into the exciting contest we thought it would be right from the start. 3:21 to go. A 6-point advantage for the Glendale Falcons, but the Royals are on a roll.
This is a big possession right here for Christ King. Down 6 right now, and the steal by Rebel. You know, they've got to get a big bucket right here.
And it looks like Mender has a little bit of a scrape on his knee. They will bandage that so he won't have to leave. Royals trainer over there working on him. Mike Keltner looks on from the other end, and here we go. Rebel to inbound to Amenta. Let's see. Super sophomore Ira Miller. Back to Amenta, inside pass slapped away by Kenny Price. And the Falcons will come away with it. Kenny Price has played an outstanding second half.
He has, he's been working hard, been hitting the boards really hard.
Amenta will pick up the foul and he'll have to leave.
This second half, Price and Foley have been working really good down low. I know they've matched up, you know, 2 or 3 times, passing just each other to score easy buckets.
Amenta will foul out with no baskets and 1 free throw. The starting guards are 0 from the floor. Jeremy Mender, who's out there now, has a 2 and a 3. There you see some of the nice crowd at the Hammond Center.
21, Dennis Cook replaces Amenta.
And Stu Stinger is at the line for 2 very important free throws. Stu has 9.
Stinger at the line for the Falcons.
3 minutes and a second left. Glendale is leading by 6. Make it 7.
At the bonus.
Make it 8. Let's see if the Royals have the answer. Dennis Cook goes to Mender. Cook came in. There's the 3. Attempt is good.
Dennis Cook with a 3.
Dennis Cook says, finally, I made one.
If you're going to hit one, that's the time to do it.
5-point lead. Price with the answer. No. Rebound for Rebel, and did he get up that time? Shades of Jeff Ford. Mender to Cook. Inside shot for Hall is short. Forbacher with a rebound.
Steve, I believe his head was still below the rim.
Two minutes to go. Falcons trying to protect the 5-point lead. No Springfield school has ever won the Tournament of Champions. Parkview came close a couple of years ago. There goes Stinger, and they'll take it back out. There's your foul on Rebel. That is his fourth.
Well, Glendale, a really well-coached team, you could tell right there. They had a couple of, 12-footers. Could have shot and kept it out. Held on to the win, or held on to the lead.
Mike Keltner's ball club looking for their 15th win of the year. They're 14-3. Came in 9th among 4A schools in the state of Missouri. Christ the King is 12-2. Forbacher missed it. Here come the Royals with 1:45 to play, down by 5. Rebel, 3, no. Mender, over Foley, good. 54-51, 1:27 to go. Foley breaks the pressure. Foley dribbles in the right corner. 1:16 to go, there you see it. Stinger has it now. That's Groh with it. To Price. 1 minute left. Stinger through the lane, and a foul again by Rudy Hall. Rudy had to do it. That was his fourth.
I always wonder why you always wait until it gets under a minute before you make the foul.
Number 34, Rudy Hall.
They were hoping for a turnover of some sort. Glendale would have none of that. Stinger at the line for 2. Miller was ready to grab it and go the other way.
He was gone, huh?
Four-point Glendale lead. 55 to play. Cook to Mender. There it is. 55-53.
Mender with some big baskets down late.
Stinger to the floor. Foul on Mender. That is Jeremy's third. 1-1 for Stinger. His team's up by 2.
Kind of an unfortunate foul, a situation like that. You've got to call it, but, in all reality, he probably just kicked his foot and tripped.
Another exciting end to the Tournament of Champions. 1-1 for Stinger.
Big free throws right here.
No. The Royals with a chance for the lead. Oh! Rebel lost it out of bounds. That sort of sums up the Christ the King night.
Yeah, that really does. Still 30 seconds left, though. Plenty of time. This thing could go any number of ways.
No doubt. Price off the inbound to Forbacher. That's Groh with it. No foul yet. Stinger. And there's your foul. Crowd wanted back court, but that was not what happened. Fouls on Mender, that's his fourth, 16 seconds left. It was interesting that the Royals waited as long as they did, but again, they were trying to force the turnover first.
Yeah, I think Groh had the ball, and they weren't wanting to go, foul him, put him on the line. He's a tremendous free throw shooter.
Royals call timeout, 16 seconds left in this one. Glendale's trying to hang on. We'll be back. The guests are the Falcons of Glendale. 55-53 over Christ the King with 16.1 seconds left in the championship game of the Bass Pro Tournament of Champions. Stu Stinger is back at the line.
The first one's very crucial.
The Falcons pull everybody off the line. And he missed it. Here come the Royals again. Miller to Mender. No for the tie. Out of bounds. And the Royals will have another shot at it.
Mender kind of forced the shot, but he's hit, this quarter. He's the one that brought him back.
5.3 seconds left. A three would win it. There's Cook. There it goes, short. One more chance, Miller. Oh! That would have counted, folks. The Royals collapse in exhaustion while the Falcons celebrate. And another fantastic finish in the Tournament of Champions. The two head coaches hug at midcourt. They've become friends over the course of this tournament. Visited each other on Mike Keltner's father's farm this afternoon. And the hometown team has won for the first time in 10 years.
I tell you what, Steve. Glendale played a heck of a game, but if you'd have told me this game would have ended up like this at halftime, I'd have never believed you.
I don't think anybody would have believed you. 55-53 Glendale. We'll be back to summarize the scoring for you right after this. Justin Foley and teammates very happy. Brad Forbacher played an outstanding second half. So did everybody on that bench. They have a lot to be proud of tonight. 55-53 Falcons. Kenny Price and Forbacher with 16. As you see the trophies being presented, Torrey Pines of San Diego will come out to accept their participation plaques. They lost the 7th place game to Central. 62-58, a long trip for the San Diego fellas to come up empty.
It's great thing about this tournament. Everyone takes something home,
Our 7th place team are the Hustling Panda Bulldogs from Springfield Central.
Springfield Central will come out to get their 7th place award. Price and Forbacher with 16. Stu Stinger had a dozen. Brian Groh with 7, Mike Galindo with 2, and Justin Foley with 2. For Christ the King, the sophomore Ira Miller had 22 points. Harvey Rebel had 11. Jeremy Mender had 9. Rudy Hall with 7. Steve Ametta with 1, and Dennis Cook with 3. Natchez, Mississippi will accept the 6th place award. They lost 92-68 to Carbondale, Illinois. It didn't start out that way, but Jeff Ford, it certainly ended in tremendously exciting fashion.
Oh, it was just a great game. You could kind of see it, the start of the 4th quarter. It was kind of building like it might be a game like this. But then Glendale kind of broke away, and it didn't look like it for a while, but then Christ the King came back and had a lot of key steals and got him just right back in this game. I think a key was Mender, really played good down late and got him back in it. Unfortunately for Christ the King, he missed the big shot that would have tied him up.
And they had a shot at the buzzer to win the game, but it fell out of the basket. Glendale will take home the trophy. Presentations down on the floor continuing.
Our fourth place team, the crowd favorite, and the group that has already accepted an invitation to return next year, St. Charles West.
So the fans will get another look at Ryan Robertson next year. What an outstanding game he played tonight as the St. Charles West Warriors are coming out on the floor now. They will be back next year.
Love to see him put on, 15, 20 pounds, just muscle. He's going to be something else.
They fell in our third place game tonight, 80-69 to Jefferson City. Battle of the #1 team in the state against #2, and #2 came out on top. Here they come now, led by the large one, Monty Harge.
The big guy.
The 6'11" center will go to Mizzou next year. A tall trophy for a tall individual. And you have to go way up to get the top of that trophy in that shot. And the runners up next. They're not necessarily excited about accepting this trophy.
Probably has done more for the tournament champions than any other single team. Christ the King.
Bob Olivo will lead his team out to accept the runner-up trophy. They've won it twice. They've also finished last once.
They had a heck of a tournament. It just came down, You can see all the teams they finished ahead of, but still when you finish second, you have a little...
And a fine salute from the crowd as everyone's on its feet for a standing ovation. And here come the Falcons, the champion of champions. You get the feeling that they like it. Kenny Price played great. So did the rest of the fellas in that picture. And there's the team, all smiles for the official photo. Stu Stinger, Brian Cates, and Forbacher, and Galendo, and the rest of them. Now we'll have our all-tournament team selections. Ryan Riggs from Springfield Central. He took over when Levi Ellis broke his foot. Ira Miller from Christ the King. Kenny Price from Glendale. Tim Hooker from Natchez. He put on quite a show also. Troy Hudson from Carbondale. His teammate Rashad Tucker will come out also. Rudy Hall from Christ the King. And it'll be very interesting to see who will join Alonzo Mourning, Anthony Peeler, Khalid Reeves, Javon Crudup, Terrence Rensher, and the rest of the most valuable players in this tournament. Ryan Robertson from St. Charles West, also a member of the all-tournament team. And they gave it to Stu Stinger. The little man's mobbed by his teammates, the MVP of the Tournament of Champions.
He deserved it. He really led his team good and let them play the game, that put them over the top to beat Christ the King. They had to play a certain game. Coach Keltner knew that, and Stu Stinger did also.
Stu will add the hardware to his trophy case. Second straight year that the point guard's taken it home. Kareem Reed for St. Raymond's last year led his team to a double overtime thriller over Charleston. What an outstanding night of basketball. Another great tournament, and we're already looking forward to number 11 next year. Jeff Ford, thanks for your help this evening.
Well, I enjoyed it. I mean, a couple great games that we covered tonight. I enjoyed that.
No question about it. Jefferson City defeated St. Charles West in the opener, 80-59. The nightcap came down to the final buzzer, but Glendale had enough to take home the hardware. Thanks to the guys back in the truck for keeping us on the air tonight. Thank you for tuning us in, and do come back next time. For Jeff Ford, I'm Steve Barnes saying good night from the Hammond Student Center.